Okay, so this next video should be a lot shorter. But again, I'm hoping that the last video, at least that should look familiar. Like a lot of the algebra that we've done or the graphing that we've done of circles, you've done before. So I'm going to do two things on this video. I'm going to do 1A. It says use the technique of completing the square to find the center and the radius, and then sketch. So when we're completing the square, we actually have to complete the square under both variables. So I'm going to complete the square on x, then I'm going to complete the square on y, and then look at that, those two things I'm adding that I have to put on the 24 side to balance that off. So let's do that then. Let's go ahead and say, okay, it's going to be x squared plus 4x, leave some space, plus y squared minus 12y, leave some space, equals 24. And so for that first one, I'd like to have a 4 here, because half of 2 is 4, and half of 4 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So I'll balance it by putting a 4 there. And then for the second one, half of 12 is 6, 6 squared is 36. So a plus 36 here, and a plus 36 there. And again, or maybe you're used to immediately, if I put a plus 4, immediately making a minus 4. Because that net change is 0. And if you're making a minus 4 there, and then you ultimately move it to the other side, do you see how that becomes a plus 4? Same thing, if you said plus 36 minus 36, to immediately subtract that to get a difference of 0, you can see it's right there. So depending on the context of when you're completing the square, sometimes it's nice to balance like I did here. Sometimes it's nice to immediately subtract it, like when we find the vertices of parabolas. Okay, so then let's go ahead and regroup that up. So then that becomes x plus 2 squared. And then this becomes plus y minus 6 squared equals, and 24 plus 4 plus 36 is, I believe, 64. So that actually worked out to be a really nice number in terms of the radius being a whole value. So our center is at -2, positive 6, and the radius is the square root of 64, just the positive version of it, so it's 8. So then it does say sketch, and really just a sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect or so precisely drawn to scale that it takes up so much time, but just go over 2 up 6. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's your center. And then find a radius of 8. So, you could say, okay, well, going 8 in this direction would land you about there. Going 8 in this direction lands you here. And I don't know if on your homework you have grids or not. I know in quizzes I often give grids, so it's easier to, get a more accurate sketch. So at least going 8 in each of those directions, and then, go ahead and draw a circle, as best you can. Doing this on a Chromebook definitely is not the best for making that accurate sketch, but or a perfect circle, but that's okay. Okay, and let's do one more completing the square, jumping down to G. So these, as long as your coefficient of x squared and y squared have the same coefficient, just divide it out. If you have a different coefficient, then you're no longer a circle. You're actually an ellipse. So you can go ahead and divide out the 2 across the whole thing, which includes these. So now you have an equivalency, x squared minus 3 over 2x plus y squared minus y equals 0, because 0 divided by 2 is still 0. So we're going to leave some space to complete our square, and it's okay with a fraction. So half of 3 over 2 is 3 over 4. And when you square that, that becomes 9/16, because you square the components. So I get a plus 9/16 here. Plus y squared minus y. And so -1/2 becomes -1/4. Oh, sorry. -1 becomes -1/2. And when I square that, it becomes a positive 1/4. So plus 1/4. So again, with this 0, I'm adding 9/16. And then I'm also adding this 1/4. So then that becomes x minus 3/4 squared plus y minus 1/2 squared equals, and then in the world of sixteenths, like 1/4 would be 4/16. So that's the same thing as 4/16. 9 plus 4, which is 13/16. So at least I know my center is 3/4, comma 1/2. And then my radius is equal to the square root of this value, which is root 13 over 4. And then again, just drawing a sketch. So 3/4, 1/2. So if this is 1 and this is 1, so over 3/4 up 1/2 would put our center there. And then if you think about like, well, how big is root 13 over 4? If it were root 16 over 4, that would be exactly 1. So this is less than 1. So then I know that, so like going less than 1 in either direction, and then just go ahead and make your circle. Cool. All right. So keep working on the rest of the homework, and then when you're finished, check Canvas for the solutions.